Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and Manny Boss is back from their break and they are coming back with a bang with this amazing new summer collection. So this is the Sunshine on My Mind collection and wait till you see these amazing colors. And spoiler alert, some of these actually glow as well. I went ahead and swatched these off camera because there were quite a few colors and we'd be here a long time if I swatched them on video, but I do want to share with you the swatches so you can see these amazing colors. And I'll be honest, after I finished swatching, I was a little overwhelmed just because there were so many pretty colors and I had so many different combinations and ideas in my head that I actually had to stop for the night and kind of sleep on it and come back the next day to figure out what I wanted to use, just because there are so many different possibilities, because I think these colors all coordinate really well together and I love that they have solids that match with glitters, and so there's just so many ideas. This collection will be releasing tomorrow on July 12th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and don't forget you can always use my ambassador code Jeannie to save 10% off your order. But let's go ahead and jump into this Manny, and I'm going to be using my Manny Boss dip liquids as well, and I am starting with my middle finger and ring finger, and they're going to have the triple ombre on them. So I'm starting with my dip base, applying a thin even layer of dip base to my entire nail. So you can see I already have my jars all laid out because your dip base isn't air dry, so you have to move a little quickly. So I'm taking my ombre brush. This one is from Manny Boss as well. I'm dipping into the pink at first, so this is Pretty Pink Toes. And I'm just dipping my ombre brush into the powder, and then I'm tapping it on that free edge corner of my nail. So it's not going to be like a color block, it's just going to be like blended colors. I don't really have like a certain pattern. I'm just going to do like a third of my nail for each of the colors. So I just want to make sure I have enough coverage. So I'm just making sure that if I need more powder, I'm dipping back in. I'm actually being lazy and I'm not wiping off my brush. I'm using the same brush for all the colors. So this is the green, this is key lime. I'm doing it on the other half of my free edge. And then once I'm happy with that coverage, I will tap off the excess powder on the brush, and then I will go in with my third color on the rest of my nail. And this one is Creamsicle. So I'm just kind of doing like a third of my nail for each of the colors, not really measuring or making it exact because it's going to be like an ombre. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to tap off the excess powder. I want to make sure that I'm cleaning up my cuticle area to make sure that I'm removing any excess product, because that could cause lifting. So I want to make sure that I'm cleaning up as I go. And then once that's dry, I will go ahead and dust off with a dust brush. So this was all real time. So you saw that I had plenty of time with my dip base to do that triple ombre without it drying on me. But because it's tap method, kind of pour over, you're going to get like thinner layers. So you can see it's a little sheer, but I'm going to do a second layer to make it more opaque. But first I'm just going to use my color switch and wipe off my ombre brush just to remove any of the excess color before I go in with my second layer. So for my second layer, I'm going to go in with a thin even layer of dip base again. So I started about the middle of my nail. I brush downwards towards my free edge, and then I'll work upwards towards my cuticle area, and that way I don't flood my cuticles. And then once I'm happy with the coverage of the dip base, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch the order just to make a more seamless blend. So I ended with Creamsicle on the first layer. For my second layer, I'm going to start with Creamsicle. So I'm starting at my cuticle area, I'm dipping my ombre brush into Creamsicle, and I'm tapping that onto my nail. My nail is pointed a little bit downward so that the powder will fall downwards towards the center of my nail. And then the second color I used is key lime. So I'm going to go in with key lime and dip my ombre brush into key lime, tapping that onto the nail. So I'm using kind of the same area that I did for my first layer. That's kind of my guide of where I want the color to be. If it goes a little bit over, that's okay, because that's going to create more of like that seamless blend, which is why I like to reverse the order. And then lastly, I'll go in with Pretty Pink Toes, and I'll do that on the rest of my nail on that corner of the free edge. So it goes by pretty quickly, but I have plenty of time with my Manny Boss dip base because I find it about a medium dry time. So I have plenty of time to do that ombre without the dip liquids drying on me. So I think these are a really good dry time if you're trying to do an ombre. So I'm going to tap off the excess powder. Oh, and I should mention, I'm doing it all over my Chaos Gemerald because I was just being a little lazy because I didn't want to contaminate the jars. So I didn't want to do it over my jars. And it's just a little bit of powder. I'm not like dumping over the powder. So I'm just going to go ahead and once I'm done with like all my ombres, I'm going to just put it in my dump jar where I keep like excess dip powder. So I'm not going to worry about wasting powder. And the one thing also I'll say is I thought I needed a little bit more pink, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a scrub. So this is kind of the scrub ombre method of I dipped my brush into the pink and I'm just going to slowly, just a little bit, scrub a little bit into the color just to get a little more pink on the nail, which it's optional. You don't have to do it. I just wanted a little more pink. So I'm going to do the same thing on my ring finger with a few new colors. So I'm keeping the pink, which is Pretty Pink Toes, but I'm also going to be using Peach Tea, which is a light peach color, and then Lightning Bugs, which is a neon yellow. So I'm just going to let you watch that and then I'll be back. I finished with my ombre nails and I decided I wanted to do one more solid nail before I moved on to the glitter. So on my index finger, I'm going to be using Peach Tea, which is one of the colors that I used for the ombre on my ring finger. And if you've been following me, you know that lately, for some reason, I have been obsessed with oranges and peaches. And this color I just had to use because I loved it so much. So this is going to be 2 full dips on my index finger of Peach Tea. I'll show you the glow of my nails at the end, but Peach Tea glows white. So once my first layer fully dried, I dusted off the excess powder using my dust brush. So now I'm going in with layer 2. So I've got a thin layer of dip base. So I'm starting about the halfway point of my nail. I'm brushing downwards towards my free edge and then upwards towards my cuticle area. For my second layer, I take my time. I go a little bit slower just because I want to make sure my entire nail is covered in case I missed any spots on my first layer. And then I will dip into the dip powder. And if it's still a little bit wet, I may do a second dip, but I want to make sure that I'm cleaning up my cuticle area before the dip base dries to make sure I'm removing any excess product. And you'll see here, once I finish cleaning up, I do decide to do like an extra dip. And that kind of helps it dry a little bit faster as well, just in case I'm being impatient. Before I move on to the rest of my nails, I'm going to go ahead and encapsulate my solid nails in clear. And the reason I do that is because the other two nails I'm going to be doing in glitters, and I don't want to risk contaminating my solid nails with a stray piece of glitter. So I'm going to cap them in clear, activate them, and then activated nails glitters will not stick to. So even if I do get glitter on my solid nail, it's not going to stick, so it's not going to be contaminated. Now that my nails are activated, I'm going to move on to my glitters, and I'm going to do a different glitter for both my thumb and my pinky. For my thumb, I'm going to be using Sunshine on My Mind, and believe it or not, I think this might be my favorite out of the entire collection. There is just something about it. Like, it is a bright neon orange glitter, and it is just so beautiful. I am obsessed with it. But anyway, I'm gonna let you watch, but let me first mention that on my pinky, I end up using Sex on the Beach. So I don't show you the colors, so I wanted to at least tell you what colors I'm using. I went ahead and capped the rest of my nails in clear, activated, filed, and buffed off camera. So here's how the mani's looking. And I decided I wanted to do a little bit of nail art. So I'm going to be using this ultraviolet gel art liner from Mani Boss. And I'm going to try to do like a little bit of a leaf type design on my middle finger. And that's all I could muster up as far as energy because I am using my non-dominant hand and it was not easy. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm removing most of the polish from the brush because I don't want it to be too thick or else it could have difficulty curing. But the good thing about these liners is they are super pigmented, so I get good coverage even though I don't have a lot of polish on my brush. So I started at my free edge and I just kind of drew like a curved line towards my cuticle area, but I didn't want to go all the way up. And if you see me struggling, it's because I'm using my left hand, which doesn't function very well. So I'm just very slowly, very carefully, once I have that main line, that's kind of like my starting point, I'm going to draw like little branches on either side of it. And you can see because I'm using my non-dominant, well, it's better even if you do your dominant hand to kind of make sure your hand that you're using that you're kind of drawing with is anchored. So I'm anchoring my hand just to kind of steady it on my right hand just to make it a little bit easier. And I don't want too many of those branches, so I'm just doing a few on either side of that main line. And then I'm going to use this dotting tool, and at the end of those branches, I'm just going to draw a little dot, and then I'm going to pull it upwards to kind of create like a teardrop type design. So it's not going to be like a leaf, but just kind of like that leaf-like design. So on each of those branches, I'm going to draw a little dot, and then I'm going to pull upwards to create like a teardrop type shape. And once I finish with all of that, I'm going to cure my nail for a full 60 seconds. These gel liners cure without a tacky layer, so once it's fully cured, I'm going to go ahead and apply my final layer of activator because I will be using a dip top coat, so I don't need to wipe it before I go in with my activator. So once my activator is on, I'm going to wait about a minute. I will give my nail a quick swipe with a lint-free wipe and some isopropyl alcohol before I go in with my dip top coat. Once my nails are dry, I'm going to go ahead and apply my first layer of top coat, and I'm going to apply that in 2 to 3 swipes on each nail. I want to be fairly quick about it, that way I don't contaminate my top coat brush and harden it. And in between each nail, I want to make sure that I'm wiping my brush on a lint-free wipe. In this case, I've got a paper towel on hand, just in case there's any excess activator. Once I'm done with my 5th nail, I'm going to immediately go in and apply my 2nd layer of top coat. So I'm taking my time a little bit more, making sure everything's covered, and I also want to make sure that I'm capping my free edge. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of Mermaid cuticle oil. Today I'm using the scent What's to Scoop, and this is one of my favorite summer scents to use because it's like a fruity, sherbety type scent that I always equate with summertime. And of course, this is extra nourishing because my skin gets extra dry whenever I'm doing a mani. So always make sure that I get my cuticle area as well as underneath my nail just to make sure everything is extra hydrated. So that pretty much wraps up today's video, and I have to say I am so obsessed with this new Sunshine on My Mind collection. The colors are not only so beautiful, they were just super easy to work with. That's what I always love about using Mani Boss dip powders, is they're just always so easy. They're really great for beginners, and I never have to struggle with them. But let me show you this glow of the colors really quick before I forget. The glow is just so bright and fun, and besides that 60-second cure in my lamp of the gel, that's all I really did, and it's just glowing that bright. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.